For this edition of what I'm calling at the moment, but it could change, Ozone Art Book Review, we're going to do a, this is, as a technical note, this is the second one that I'm doing. This one is in 1080p at 30 frames per second. So, again, I did the first review, which this one will be shorter because this book is much smaller. Not less good, but smaller. It's definitely not the huge volume thickness-wise that the New York City Transit Authority one was. But this one is in 1080p, so this is going to be up to you guys which format you prefer. So let's take the book out here. And I'm doing this one-handed, so this is not easy. Take it out of its... This is very intentionally supposed to be a art music kind of book, and that's why this has this vinyl LP type of cover to it, slipcase. So I'm going to move that out of the way because we don't need that for the review. I will put that down here and turn this the correct way. One other good thing about doing this on an art desk is I don't mind sliding this around. Unfortunately, that dent was there when I got it, but I can get picky about books. This is the cover here. But not in this case. I don't get too picky about stuff. I mean, this dent doesn't affect me because this is a book meant to be looked at. Oh, I should warn, and I put a note of this. There are some explicit images in here as far as nudity, that type of thing. Nothing that I think most people would, flip out over, but be aware that if you're watching this at work, unlike the transit manual, there might be some stuff in here that if somebody walked by, they might not be happy to be seeing on your screen. I don't know how many people watch this at work, but if you do, just be aware. All right, so let's get into this. First thing, it's printed on very nice paper. I like the printing job they did here. And it's got this, so that is actually a jacket. I should note that. So as you see, here's a repeat of the motif that the outer motif, big boy word. Actually, doing this one-handed is going to be a little tough. Well, no, not really tough. I just have to do it a little differently. So this is a jacket on top that goes inside the slipcase, but this repeats the kind of design language of the slipcase, or is that what they call it, slipcase? Or yeah, I think it's slipcase is the correct word. So we won't show everything, obviously, because I'm still not sure about the legality of this. But basically, the idea, from what I understand, and this is by Matteo De Longis, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I know I'm pronouncing Matteo right. I don't know about the rest. Was to do a kind of music-based art book. And so there's a lot of imagery in here. I like what he's doing. There's a lot in here. And I would be curious, and maybe this is a potential late night kind of thing. I would be curious, when I talked to Derek Stenning, I got a lot into the idea of how the book was constructed. And he did all the work on the book for, the portions that the actual artwork were on. These I don't mind touching these pages as much. I don't think they pick up fingerprints. They're smoother, unlike the transit manual. They don't, they'll resist fingerprints a bit more, I think. But as far as the actual artwork, I wonder if he was responsible for like this, the triangle motif, which is very close to the Assassin's Creed thing, which is funny. But I love like the use of the triangle here incorporated into the work. There's actually a good one to do after the transit manual because there's a lot of strong graphic design thought going on here. At least I think so, unless this was all accidental, but I really can't believe that. So this is a beautiful art style that he's using. It's I'd almost call it, it reminds me a lot of FLCL, if you've ever seen that anime, almost like a cel-shaded anime kind of 90s style. I don't know if that, it's not the right descriptor for it, but that's kind of what I think of when I see a lot of this stuff. But I do love, okay, great example. Here we go. I love the design thinking here with these kind of pages. That's why I'm real curious whether, it must have been. Most types of books like this by somebody are concept pieces, which means he had this stuff. Like, I wish I could think like this. I wish I could think positionally the way this stuff is done. I love number one, the blue to the yellow, but I also like the circles in the background here. Just the whole composition of these images. In particular, I love stuff like this. Self-contained, kind of centered, not symmetrical, but symmetrical. I don't know if that makes sense. The triangle kind of gives it a symmetry that the image doesn't have. I love that kind of use of stuff. That's stuff I try to do unsuccessfully most of the time, but that's what I try to go for, is this kind of self-contained imagery. I'll tell you one thing that I look at this work and I wish I could do, and I don't know why I can't do it. When I try to do it, all I see is the problems in it. Is kind of, again, cell shading isn't quite the right word, but this very clean, bold line work with this kind of, what's the word? I guess cell shading is the only word I can come up with. This kind of harsh coloration inside of there. This isn't necessarily, there's some of the shading in here that's got very, defined lines that are not drawn or illustrated. I don't know how else to pronounce it. I would love to be able to do stuff like this. I have a lot of trouble doing this, mostly because I get to a certain point in it and I think it's terrible and I just stop, whether it objectively is or not. So I really love looking at this kind of line work and this kind of, this, again, graphic design language, really, really strong in here. Okay, so there's an explicit image for you. Again, this is something that when I see it, I'm like, okay, yes, I love all the usage of different things here. The overlay of the skull, the single, or what's the word for it? The color overlaid images in the background here. I love seeing this stuff. I'd love to do, and I love these. I think they're supposed to be tube amps or tube amp plug. I don't know what the word for tube amps is. It just tubes? I guess it's tubes. Almost like tube amps and Einstein bulb type of idea for the teeth. Like that's just a great. You could miss that the first 5 or 6 times you look at that, but man, that is just beautiful detailing work. This is just I mean, this whole book is fantastic, but that's just a great graphic design image. That's a shirt right there. That's a shirt that I would buy if it was in my size instantly. This. Or the other one, the yellow one. Probably not this. Well, you know what? Actually, I would buy that. I just wouldn't wear it out in public too much. Again, beautiful stuff. Just all of it. There's great color usage. There's great graphic design. I love the little gun. That's what is that? I don't know what that's called I don't know what it's called. Whatever, the thing you tune a base with. A tuner. The tune end. The end. Whatever. The jet engine type of windmills in the background. It's just, there's a lot of good graphic design thinking in the back of this. Here again, there's a shirt right there. Bang. Done. Monochrome with this bold yellow background. Graphic design elements over. It's just fantastic. I mean, there's just some really great stuff in here. I'm trying not to show too much of this because, again, I don't know the legality. Here again, visually a beautiful image. It's I wish I thought of stuff like this. Now, this looks like there's some... Looks like the subs themselves are CG, and then the girl is probably... I'm assuming he does this probably all digitally, meaning he draws it on a tablet. I don't know that for sure. I don't know what the process is. But I love submarines. I love Cold War stuff. There's kind of a lot of Soviet imagery in this entire thing going across. Beautiful image. Beautiful stuff. And I love the fact that there's a size comparison from the whale to the sub to the woman. I don't know what it's supposed to mean necessarily. I don't know if that word means something, but I love looking at it. Again, look, that's a shirt. Who wouldn't buy this shirt? Look at how beautiful this is. Again, bold graphic design elements, color on the monochrome, absolutely spectacular. Just great work. Again, any of these things, well, no, I probably wouldn't buy these individual images as a shirt. This page as a shirt, yes, I bought it. Yes, I bought this. Again, this kind of reminds me of a variation on Derek Stenning's kind of space iconography. But again, you have this kind of Edison bulb topper thing happening here. There's a lot of neat Robotech elements down here. All this stuff is just so well thought out. I'd be so curious to talk to this guy. I really would like to try it. Here again, this is sort of a repeating motif, but every one of these I like, where it's kind of this monochrome on the bold yellow with the I guess that's supposed to be VOX. Oh, I didn't pick that up till just now. That's half of the V, the O, and the half of the X. Boy, how did I not pick that up earlier? Well, whatever. Beautiful work. Let's see. Let's go. We're almost to the end here. This is, like I said, this is going to be a shorter one. So this is where there's some stuff about how it was done, but I would really love to get into kind of the technical. And obviously, there's some photo reference stuff that I would assume here. Another great image at the back. I was just going to show one or two. Here again. Okay. Shirt. I bought these. Background, wallpaper, whatever. I mean, this is just fantastic stuff. Look at this. This is like, you just can't. There's times you look at stuff, man, you just wonder how somebody could do something so masterful. But there's a lot of this. So, again, it's called, let's see, our top label, it says conceived and designed by, editing, I don't really, logo type. So it's all him. So it's obviously all him. Interesting. I wonder if he is, sorry I'm doing this thinking while I'm doing the video. Anyway, I'm going to try to contact this guy because I would love to get into, much in the way I did with Derek Stenning, I would love to get into the making of this book because I don't remember exactly how I found this on Amazon. I don't know how I find half the things I find on Amazon, but man, I picked this up and it was just a real kick in the face, positive-wise, on an art book. It was just an amazing book. I liked it from beginning to end. I mean, just here again, and there's echoes of, just for me, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but you look at this, of course it's a vinyl record, but I think immediately back to that graphics manual with the 11-inch disc with the 3 in the center. I mean, just, and this is supposed to be like, you know, again, this is an album art concept. It's beautiful, man. I love this book. I really do. This is a fantastic art book. Again, it is called VOX, and the artist's name is, it was here, so I should have left it up, Matteo De Longus. I'm going to try to contact this guy because this is a great book, and I would love to get into how he made it. So again, VOX, available on Amazon. Fantastic art book. This again this video is done in 1080p with 30 frames. So in comparison to the last one, which I know was longer by a few minutes, not terribly longer, but longer. Let me know what you guys think, but I'm kind of leaning towards this 1080p. Plus, I stripped out a lot of the annoying stuff like this freaking camera had the date on the bottom. That's gone. There's things that should be better in this video. So Vox, Matteo De Longus, let me know what you think. Later.